Hi, this is Elizabeth Blandon for the Blandon Law Team. It is a pleasure once again to be with you on Giving Tuesday. It's always good to be speaking about different topics that are of interest to people who are interested in getting a green card. And what is a green card? It is what is known as the path to citizenship. You often hear about that, the big path to citizenship, and basically that's what a green card is. In the United States, a person is either a foreigner or they are a U.S. citizen. And in between the two, before you become a U.S. citizen, you are what is known as a legal permanent resident. The way someone proves they're a legal permanent resident is with a green card. So what is Giving Tuesday? Just this, let me tell you, hello to our viewers. Giving Tuesday is a tradition that started in December of last year. It's a time when we provide information. I say we, speaking on behalf of the Blandon Law Team, because we work here as a team, and we give information that is of interest and of value. And today we're speaking about Form I-130, the petition that starts the process by which a foreigner can get a green card based on marriage. That is only one step of the process, however. It's very important to understand that in order to get a green card based on marriage, after that petition is approved, after that form is approved, it can wind its way. It can be a very long process. The petition itself takes about a year to get approved, and whether a person gets a green card here in the United States or gets what's known as an immigrant visa outside the U.S. depends on certain things, including where the foreigner is who's applying, and if they're in the U.S., how they entered the U.S., whether they entered legally, like with a visa, or they entered without authorization, sometimes called illegally. Now, here's the good news. The good news is if you are married to a U.S. citizen and you file Form I-130, you are going to get approved. Yes, you heard it here. You are going to get approved. So why listen in on videos like this? Because the question is, how much time do you have to spend on it? As I said, the petition itself might take about a year to be approved, and how much time you spend going back and forth with immigration to get information on it is, depends on how well you follow the instructions and do the best you can. So, apart from following the pretty explicit and detailed instructions that are at the website, uscis.gov. There's some really good instructions that explain what you should do with Form I-130. Apart from that, that's not the question that people have. What people want to know is, what information do I put with it? What do I do to prove that it's a real marriage? And that's where the fun comes in, because we've been around for over 15 years, so you can imagine we have heard basically every kind of, shall I say, excuse as to why people can't provide proof of a marriage. I've had people tell me that they don't like to take pictures with their spouse. I've had people tell me that they haven't told their family members that they're married because, the family just would never accept the marriage. I have had people say to me, well, I can't have a joint account because my foreign national spouse doesn't have a tax return. If you can think of it, we've heard it. Oh, and we've also had couples where one person lives in one state and another person lives in another state. And they say it's just absolutely impossible to get the petition approved. Thankfully, it is not impossible to get the petition approved, even in situations like that. So what do you have to prove? Well, what you have to prove is that this relationship with Mr. or Ms. right now is actually a real relationship. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that, and by the way, welcome to the more and more viewers that are watching us. If you have a question, please let us know. But what I mean by proving that it's a real marriage, I don't mean that you have to prove that it's going to be a long-term marriage that lasts, forever and ever. There's a pretty big risk of divorce here in the United States. So I think it's about 50%. But the point is that you don't have to prove that you're going to be in this relationship forever. That would be asking for too much. What you have to prove is that on the day you married, you did have a long-term intent with the person. What does that mean? It means that you thought that you were at least going to be with this person for, 10, 15 years, and not in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, where you were going to go to the court with your boyfriend or girlfriend and you were going to say, okay, we're formalizing it in this one way, but in no other way. We're not even going to live together. No, you actually prove that you have long-term intent. And that can be pretty creative. I have seen some pretty creative ways of proving long-term intent. I have seen people who have proven it because they have matching tattoos. I have seen it being proved because people are involved, even though they don't have children. They can document that they are going through in vitro fertilization where they're trying to get pregnant. I have seen people who have a joint bank account where the amount of the joint bank account is very little. And when asked, why is the amount of money so little? They said, because we're going to get a little house, one of those little cute little houses, and so we don't have to save a lot of money. So the point is, you're going to have to demonstrate to the US government that you do have the idea of staying with this person for a very long time. And if you can do that, and if you follow the instructions for the form, you will eventually get approved. So what is one of the goals of getting the green card through marriage, as opposed to, I don't know, say with a sibling or with a parent? And here's the point. The point is that if you get a green card through marriage, it's also a fast track to US citizenship. Yes, normally US citizenship takes about 5 years from the time you're a resident to the time you become a US citizen. But if you obtained your green card through marriage and you are still living with your spouse on the date that you apply for citizenship, you can then apply for citizenship in 3 years as opposed to 5 years. Now, listen carefully to the point I said. This is something that is sometimes missed, even by other immigration professionals. You do not have to be living with your spouse at the time of your citizenship interview. Currently, citizenship interviews might take up about 20 months, sometimes closer to 2 years. The point is not whether you're separated from the spouse on the date of the interview. You know, bad things happen in good marriages, and separations happen. The point is, were you living with your spouse at the time you applied for your citizenship, and did you get your green card based on marriage? So these are a few points on Giving Tuesday. And as you're seeing, as you're hearing this, you're saying, wow, it's pretty hard to get a green card through marriage. It's not as easy as you might have thought. And it is. You're absolutely right. It is not an easy process to get a green card based on marriage, but also it shouldn't be. Citizenship and green cards are very serious business, and the officers who will be looking at these cases look at them seriously, because you're joining a pretty exclusive club, which is eventually becoming a citizen of what I consider to be the greatest country on the planet. So take it seriously. And in fact, Blandon law itself, we don't take clients unless they're willing to have a consultation, both persons in the couple. The reason is because if we don't have a couple that is willing to answer some of our basic questions in a consultation, then we know they're not probably going to be willing to do the hard work involved in a petition to get a green card through marriage. It has been a pleasure, and I will be seeing you at the next Giving Tuesday.